What's happening, Fit Fam? Coach Rye from Team Flex. Today we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive into the Legends Classic. We're going to talk about the placings at this event, look at our class winners, talk about why those placings may have happened the way they did, who won the overall and why they won the overall over all the other class winners. And we're going to just take a deep dive into the bikini criteria so that you out here watching, no matter your level, you can get everything you need to know to be able to compete on stage and do better. That's my goal with this channel. So if you like that idea, that thought, definitely make sure you subscribe. I got a lot more coming. All right, let's get down to it. So here we have Class A. This is Roberta. She's the winner of Class A. We have Class B over here. Sabrina, winner there. And over here we have Alexandra, Class C winner. So these are all the class winners. There were other athletes in their class, but I really like to compare the class winners up side by side because you really start to get a very clear message of what the criteria really means. And a lot of bikini competitors, I know you out there are wondering right now about Fit Model. Is it the best division for you? What should you be doing, right? And is Fit Model going to change bikini? Well, here's what we're seeing right now. So bikini at Legends Classic, keep in mind, they also did have Fit Model. We'll talk a little bit about that on a different video. Bikini always is going to be hovering right around the hourglass shape being the name of the game. You want to create your most ideal hourglass look. And all of you watching that are competing in bikini need to be thinking about that. Perfect symmetry, up, down, left, right, creating the best hourglass shape that you can. That comes from muscles, okay? So it's not just about diet. It's not just about doing whatever workouts in the gym. You have to train to attain a bikini physique, especially if you want to end up like one of these ladies and win your class. It is required. It is what you must do. So what we can see here is that every athlete in the lineup does showcase some fullness, some roundness to the deltoids. So your shoulder muscle is what that is, that delt, front delt, lateral delt, rear delt, okay? We'll see all that kind of creates that roundness, that fullness. Bikini competitors, you must absolutely have this. Do not try to go and compete if you do not have this upper body shape taking place. And you kind of do want to make sure that you have it to the right amount for this division, which is not going to be underdone. You know, you don't want to look like you don't train upper body at all, but it's also not going to be overdone. You don't want to look like a figure competitor, show up with pumpkin or cannonball type delts, right? Too big in the delts, score you down. Looking for that shape, that fullness, that roundness, that's what really brings it home, okay? So that's where you want to have. And all three of these ladies, you'll see, have a little bit of a difference to it, and we'll talk about each of them individually, but overall, that is the consensus for the class winners, showing good development in the shoulders. Now, the next biggest thing you want to ever note on a bikini physique is this very narrow waist. So this effect is created a lot from the muscle you build, but also obviously keeping your diet in check. Some of these women may be doing things like vacuums or waist training, things that we see commonly in this division at this point to keep the waist in check, but primarily it comes from obviously dieting. You'll note that all of these competitors have a very flat stomach. That is because of the amount of body fat that they have. They're not probably sitting there doing, tons of crunches, leg lifts, all this stuff. Ab work in bikini, minimal if needed, right? It's really one of those areas you don't want to over focus on. Your goal is to kind of shrink that waist look, obviously from posing and also from creating the right amount of muscle. Wherever you can get that muscular development to play, that's going to create a more dramatic tapered look, right? If you build the shoulders up and then it shucks that ratio down into the waist, makes your shoulders look bigger, oh, that sweep looks more dramatic. That favors you heavily. So very narrow waist in all three of these competitors in this lineup, and that's something you want to focus on. How do you get your best kind of waistline to come in, dial in, and look? And it actually, go figure, is from building muscle in other areas, such as your shoulders, and then obviously in the lower body, the glutes. So what we see here, what brings the base of the hourglass out is going to be that glute shape. Now, with the glutes in bikini, you want it to be very, very symmetrical to the hamstrings and the quads. If any one of these muscle groups are overdone, it's going to throw off your symmetry, your balance, and it's no longer looking like the best fit for bikini. We do see it a lot, but typically not in the placings that are going to be in the top, right? So looking here, what we can see is all the athletes have fullness in the glutes, definitely developed, and into the lower body. We have good symmetry in all of them, yet they showcase it in a little bit of a different way, okay? So that creates that hourglass shape. It's created by that muscle. It's created by that look. Conditioning-wise, all these athletes very on par, yet it might look slightly different to you watching there, and that's realistically because, guess what? Everybody's an individual, right? I always say it on this channel. I'm always talking about that. You want to make sure that you note your best bikini look ain't going to be whatever you're seeing on the screen today. It's going to be the one that's best for you, your physique, okay? So what we can see is for conditioning, each athlete is going to display, some separation in the upper body, some in the obliques, the abdominals, a clearly flat stomach. That's something judges note. And then a slight separation in the quads, hamstrings, maybe a little bit of lines in the glutes, okay? So let's talk now just a tad about each one of these athletes as an individual. And I'm going to go ahead and change my pen size here. I'm feeling like this pen's a little bit big today. Let's take a look. Okay, so each one of these athletes here in this lineup as an individual, what we can see is realistically that, Roberta, she brings in a good shoulder shape overall, ties in nicely into the waist, comes back into the lower body. I would say she's a tag quad heavy. Didn't affect her in this lineup because obviously she wins this class. But her shoulders look to be a little bit, less developed than the other competitors in this comparison, as well as maybe just a tag quad dominant. Also, a little on the softer side, lower body-wise, not as much lines. Still, overall, great killer physique, wins her class. Nothing to scoff at. That's awesome. I'm just trying to give you all insight out there into, what you need to look for, what you need to find out for your best physique on stage and how it translates. She wins the class, doesn't win the overall, right? I'll talk about specifically the overall winner when we get there in our next bit. So looking over here now, Sabrina, what we can see is a little bit more of that development in the shoulders, right? So definitely has the biggest delts out of these three that we're looking at. Tapers into the waist nicely. Looks a little bit under in the glute, right? You can still see the glute shape here, but it's not as much. Her shoulders maybe are the thing for that. So you start to see, right, every athlete has these differences in how they carry their muscle. And that's something you got to really be aware of as a competitor. Where do you carry yours? How's it going to look on stage? And how is that going to favor you most overall? Looking over here, we look at Alexandra, probably the leanest out of the group. You can see a little bit more lines in the glutes and into the quads and stuff like this. Indicates she may be a little bit leaner. Start to also see maybe just a little bit of that six-pack coming through, and that's not from training abs probably. That's from being lean. So she's the leanest one in the lineup, wins her class. Good shoulder development overall. Good, everything is tying in. Maybe could use a little bit more muscle overall, right? And that's just, again, everybody's at a different part in your journey. No matter where you place, you're going to get feedback. You're going to have things to work on. A lot of these competitors here are probably going to take that first place win and go on to nationals, maybe try to get a pro card. So they're definitely going to want feedback. And this may be some of theirs. Obviously, was not a judge, not judging. This is my feedback on my YouTube. All right, so let's take a look here at the back now, because the full story is never sold just from the front. When we get to the back, we get a much clearer picture of exactly what we're talking about. So everything in the back post, still all about the hourglass shape. You still definitely want to showcase that in every degree. We're going to see that displayed on all three of these athletes on the screen. And we'll also see some clear differences, okay? So in back pose, you do want to see some shoulder roundness and development. You just get a little bit of that lateral delt. A lot of times you'll see this, what we're seeing, like, hair covering it, not really seeing it, but you can still see the shape. It's still there. It's not a heavy point of focus in bikini. They're not going to be scoring your back. Your lats realistically may give you just a little bit of that V taper that can help you, but again, not a scoring point. Not like, oh, how much back muscle do you have, this and that. If you have wide lats, maybe it helps you sweep down into the waist a little. Maybe it doesn't. Something, again, you got to know for your own physique, or have a coach that obviously knows this stuff, can really help you pinpoint those areas. Looking lower body wise, this is the main focus of the bikini back pose, obviously, is to look at glutes, hamstrings, and where the overall symmetry is from the upper to the lower. And what we can see here, looking at Roberta, Class A winner, is, she's definitely got good glute shape. Overall, hamstrings and quads do match. Not a lot of quad sweep from the back, so she's not over-dominant in that position. She looked a little bit from the front, not from here. Again, little on the softer side here. No problem with that. Wins the class, okay? So keep in mind, I know competitors, you get in your head all the time. You're on prep. Am I lean enough? Am I lean enough? Hey, you know what? Go compete, okay? Do your best on prep. Go compete, see how you do, right? Because obviously we see 3 different conditionings out of these 3 athletes, and they all won their class. So there you go. Something to take with you. Looking here, competitor number 2 in Class B winner, Sabrina. Okay, so Sabrina, like we said, maybe a little bit under on the glutes. We kind of see that from the back too. Still great shape, everything's symmetrical. Could maybe use some more glute development, but overall good. And you can see the tie-in, everything kind of coming through here. Good indicator. She's pretty on par with her condition. Overall, though, maybe just a little bit more upper glute. That upper glute really does round out, the glute effect from the back, and that does help you on stage. Again, she wins her class. For further feedback, the stuff I'm trying to give you all insight into, these are the areas you want to focus on, okay? And looking over here at Class C winner, she really does have good shoulder shape. Everything ties in, showcases really well. A little bit more quad dominance from the back. So again, really good musculature on her. We can see that. It's not throwing her off. Good shape to the upper glute. Overall glute shape is there, and the tie-in, she may have had the tightest condition out of the three in this group, and it showcases really, really well for her. So overall, again, really good indicators. If you are out there watching this and you're a bikini competitor or want to be, this is giving you a pretty good insight, where you want to focus. Okay, let's take a look now at 3 more of our class winners. Okay, so we have Jackie here. She wins Class D, also the overall winner. So she won out of all the other competitors that I'm showing you right here, and some that are not present, that are other class winners. She won the whole show, okay? She won out of all the first place winners. That's what the overall is. This is a very big goal for a lot of competitors. It might be a goal for you as you go to try to get that overall. And, you definitely want to pay attention to the stuff we're about to talk about if you do want to win overall. And remember, by the way, I got a lot more videos. Subscribe if you're liking what we're doing here, okay? So over here, we have Class E, Emily, and Class F, Lacey. So these are all the open class winners. I did cover them all in the video. Let's dive in a little bit more individually. So I'm not going to hammer the criteria too much. You guys know by now, even if you're a first timer ever watching my channel, we're talking about hourglass shape, and how that's going to look on all 3 of these ladies is going to be a little bit different, okay? So for our overall winner, she probably wins the overall because of her overall symmetry in general, right? So shoulders, good roundness, fullness, everything's there. Tapers into the waist, can see the oblique line, everything is there. Glute shape, most pronounced glute development that we've seen out of any of the classes so far. So a lot more muscle, lower body, and her quads kind of do echo that a bit. Hamstrings do echo that. It starts to look a little bit dominant from here, but it's okay because she's got that upper body to match, right? So that's really key. You want to make sure everything is symmetrical, everything matches, and that's really where you're going to be. She's on par with condition, again, where we see the same kind of separations, abs, shoulders, glutes, hamstrings, quads, all of this. That's what we see in every competitor on the stage. So very on par. How she kind of edges us out, at least in this front pose. We're going to go to the back in just a sec. Is definitely in her overall balance, symmetry, and development, right? She's got a lot of development, which is, again, something judges look for in bikini. It's a clear message like, hey, don't be coming to stage underdone. Don't be coming to stage too lean. Don't come with muscle. Bikini competitors come to stage with muscle, with shape, with fullness. That's what judges want to see. Looking here at Emily, our Class E winner, I almost said Class F, Class E winner. What echoes to me right away? A little bit dominant in the upper body, right? Very big delts here. A little bit into the arms too, bicep, tricep. I don't talk about that a lot with bikini competitors because really you just need to be on par with development. She's definitely a little bit more upper body dominant, I would say, and the posing doesn't really help. I would suggest posing tweaks for athletes in this kind of posing, right? A little bit more upright maybe, a little bit more squared off, not showcasing as much here, because really what this is doing is making the upper body, it's probably already a little overdeveloped, and it looks a lot more overdeveloped because of this pose, right? So still get the same effect, but not as much, and it really does reduce the lower body shape overall. So something to be aware of for all of you watching. Really work on your poses. Great job. Wins her class. Looks fantastic. Fantastic physique. But these things are things you want to note if you are trying to watch the channel to do your best on stage. So lower body, again, it's got good fullness, good shape. Everything's here, but this pose doesn't really help showcase it enough, I don't think, and that kind of can make the upper body look a little too dominant. Looking over here at Class F winner Lacey, we get a lot of the similarities. Class F is starting to, it's the tallest class at this event, so it gets taller and taller, more and more muscle showcases in a lot of ways. And what we see here is shoulder development, tapers into the waist, good, everything's here. A little bit of maybe a conditioning difference, upper to lower. And this is something that we do see with competitors over time. As a coach who works with bikini competitors all the time, I do see this with athletes coming on. Sometimes you have to even out your conditioning, right? You got to work a lot more to bring through the same level of condition, because you can look a little bit leaner up top than you do down lower, and that is not necessarily the best thing for you on stage. Maybe a little bit uneven conditioning here, just a tad for her, but again, great physique, great representation of bikini criteria, wins her class, awesome job. Out of this lineup, keep in mind, this is our overall winner. So out of these three, two here, and out of the other three, definitely the most muscle, definitely the most on par condition, and definitely the best balance so far. Now, let's take a look from the back. As I said, the story's never told till we get here. So, looking at the back post now, we'll start with Jackie, our overall winner. You get the most shoulder shape out of anyone we've looked at in the lineup. So, just a little bit of that roundness, that fullness. You start to see even just a little bit of that rear deltoid creeping through. This is about exactly where you should be as a bikini competitor, okay? Just showcasing that fullness, that roundness, that rear delt comes through just a little bit. Boom. Judges know you've been training, you've been doing the work, you got it all. Tapers into the waist. Not a very dramatic taper from the back for her, but that's fine. Don't need it. Glutes overall developed. Everything is good there. You know, tie-ins there where it should be, and clearly showing a lot of muscle in the quads and the hamstrings. So judges here definitely went with, again, more muscle for this bikini division, saying, hey, you know, we got fit model now maybe in their heads, and fit model's a little bit less muscle. Okay, well, we're going to make sure bikini competitors winning, they got enough muscle, right? So she's got a lot of muscle, most muscle out of this lineup, most muscle out of all of the class winners, and it's the most balanced, which is how she wins the group. I know people are going to ask, okay, well, you know, what's with the kind of the tilting? You'll see this on some competitors, right? And there's all sorts of reasons this can happen. It can be as simple as like, you know, somebody that needs a chiro adjustment. It could be as simple as something like where their pose just a little bit off in the shot. You know, the camera took a picture at the time when they were transitioning or something. It's something as simple as, you know, a whole myriad of things, honestly. It has a lot to do with hip structure. I'm not going to go into all that in this video, but it is definitely a common thing. Something often too that can be corrected if it is one of those things. It could also be something that is an injury or some type of other, you know, mechanical difference that is just there in the structure. So if you're out there wondering, you will see that on competitors. It might be you. It's okay. It's not going to score you down. She wins the overall, right? Even with a little bit of that kind of tilt going on here, if that is, again, showcasing correctly. So let's look over at Class E, Class F real quick. And what we can see is good shoulder shape in our Class E winner here, Emily. But again, bigger, a little bit bigger, more upper body dominance here, definitely compared to the lower body. Glutes definitely look to be a bit behind here as far as development goes. Needs some more upper glute, overall glute, bring that tie in through a little bit, but overall still good musculature, everything is there. Wins that class, great job. Just giving you guys further insight, a little bit more balance, a little bit more structure there. Bringing the glutes up to match the shoulders, or bringing the shoulders down to kind of match the glutes a little bit more would be an advantage, right? More symmetrical, better balance. That's what we call bikini winning, all right? And she wins her class, keep in mind, but does not win overall. So that's really the differences we're talking about today. Looking last at Lacey, Class F winner here. Everything ties in nicely. It's all good. Tapers in, good shoulder shape. Everything's there. A little bit, right, where we see the tie-in, everything is good. A little bit less upper glute, though. Not as much glute roundness, fullness in that sense. Very close, again, to our overall winner, her physique in general. But, you know, she pretty much did edge her out a bit in that front pose as well. So, again, we don't even know exactly, by the way, how these all landed, right? When judges are doing overall comparisons, they would move X, Y, Z around. We really just do know Jackie wins the overall. So, this is just my feedback in general. Hopefully it's helpful to all of you watching. That's why we do these reviews. And great job to every single one of these ladies that are in this lineup. Fantastic job winning your class. No easy feat. You know, I'm just trying to give feedback to everybody out here as a way to help you do better on stage, and that's what I like to do. So if you like that, you want to learn more, you want to be part of the channel, Got a lot more videos coming, a lot more content, a lot more things to teach you. Let me know in the comments below more stuff you want to know, or if you want me to cover your show, your class, what is it? Put it in here. Tell me, do you got a competition coming up? Because it's the end of February now. You got a competition in March, April, May? Where are we at? What are you doing? Tell me. Put it in the comments, all right? Thank you for watching. Coach Ryan is out.